My entire childhood has revolved around Indian mythology. From watching endless animated videos on YouTube to reading books written by famous mythological authors, not a single day has passed without me delving into a new perspective from the scriptures. Isn't it unbelievable that these myths, legends, and the Vedic literature, written nearly 3,500 years ago, are still relevant to us till date? During my ninth grade, I got a splendid opportunity to direct and write a play for Jamboree, the annual event for which I am eternally grateful to my mentors. Without a thought, my co-writers and I chose a topic as mythology and scripted Ravan Leela to portray the untapped perspective of Ravan. The show was definitely a success, but sometimes I wonder whether I did justice to the female characters like Sita, Surpanaka, and Kaikesi. They had ample amount of screen time, but the dialogues were simply reactions. They did not have a stand of their own. This made infinite thoughts flow through my mind. Have our scriptures always been male-centric? At that point, I was immediately reminded of the shloka, the Panchakanya mantra. Ahilya Draupadi Sita, Tara Mandodari Tatha, Panchakanya Smaranityam, Mahapataka Nashanam, which means that chanting the name of these five holy women would bereft one of their sins as they represent the five elements of nature. Known for their profound wisdom and patience, all five of them have played a significant role, be it in personal life or in the political stability during their reign. Recently, I stumbled upon this deep, fabulous, heart-wrenching novel, A Forest of Enchantments by Chitra Banerjee Divkaruni, a narration of Ramayana through the lens of Sita. In the novel, Sita's part is not just restricted to abduction. It is about her sheer strength and courage during her captivity in Lanka, as well as those tough instances when she was forced to raise her sons, Lava and Kush, by herself. Let me present Sita's life in a nutshell. Despite offering a myriad of opulence to lure her and counterfeiting Ram's death, Ravan failed to seek Sita's consent till the very end. Yet, we all know that she was made to perform the Agni Pariksha, trial by fire, to prove her innocence to Ram, immediately being freed from Lanka. When Ram banished her to the forest, even when it wasn't her fault, she remained resilient, understood her husband's perspective as a king, and raised her sons to be wise, powerful future rulers. And at last, when Ram asked her to perform the Agni Pariksha once again, this time in front of the entire crowd and subjects, to prove her purity and the right to the position of the queen, she remained firm, took a stand against the injustice, and finally, she became one with Mother Earth. She was known to be an excellent queen, regardless of a short training period, a trained warrior, and a holder of knowledge in subjects like political sciences and botany. Sita certainly was the strongest character of Ramayana, who endured and sacrificed the most. Also, I'm sure you all would have read about the famous Queen Kaikeyi. Without her intervention, Ram would not have been exiled to the forest and proven as the most righteous king, and our history would have been devoid of a great battle. It is believed that she herself was an excellent warrior who saved King Dashrath from a fatal injury and received a boon which she used to banish Ram. This only proves that women were strong enough in the bygone era to enter the battlefield and train in warfare. Also, literature shows how advanced our ancestors, the Vedic women, were. You all would have surely heard about the famous rishis like Valmiki, Agastya, Vyas, Durvasa. They are ubiquitous in any mythological serial you see. But have you heard about the lesser-known female rishis or rishikas who have a huge contribution to the Vedas? And sadly, we fail to acknowledge them notable achievements. Gargi, Maitreyi, Vishwamara, Apala, Ghosha. The Rigveda had itself over 36 rishikas who wrote multiple hymns in the praises of Hindu deities like Agni, Rati, Indra, and Mu. In fact, our culture has always been about women. Without Surpanaka's insult and Sita's abduction, there wouldn't have been the Ramayana. Without Amba, who reincarnated as Shikhandi, Bhishma Pitama's death was impossible. And without Draupadi's Vastraharan, disrobing, and a pledge to wash her hair with the Kauravas' blood, the Great War Mahabharata wouldn't have happened. All the wars in our history have been fought over one main reason: to uphold a woman's dignity. And now, are we able to serve justice to that one rape that occurs every 16 minutes in our nation? We live in Mumbai, a metropolis where women can travel freely at night. But India is beyond cities like Mumbai and Bangalore. More than 2/3 of our nation still resides in rural areas where women have to think twice before stepping out alone in the night. Female feticide are still rampant and girls are prohibited from studying. Cases like the Nirbhaya and the Kolkata murder rape case are still prevalent today. A place as reputable as a hospital being cited for such a crime, nothing could be more heinous than that. And a scene like this taking place in Kolkata, a city where Ma Durga, the epitome of feminine energy, is worshipped, is just unimaginable. Ancient Indians were simply ahead of us by all aspects: science, maths, and even gender equality. Women could take part in politics, be warriors, and female scholars were revered and honored. And coming to today, women are still expected to get married and prioritize the household over work. It is assumed by society that women should quit their jobs to take care of the house, whereas the couple could easily manage the chores together alongside their careers. As we move ahead from the Vedic era, the landscape of India changed. From multiple invaders to the colonial times, the face of feminism transformed. Multiple interpretations of the Vedic texts appeared. Many of them imposed restrictions on women and set up the quintessential norms. Oppression against women was at its peak during the medieval era. Sati, child marriage, parda. However, women fought back. They remained resilient. Personalities like Savitribai Phule, Dr. Anandibai Joshi, Kiran Bedi, Kalpana Chawla, and many more broke the gender stereotypes, and they continue to do so. The freedom we experience today is a result of their hard work and courage. Nevertheless, there's still a lot to achieve. Issues regarding women's safety and gender bias are yet to be completely eradicated, and the masses need to understand that true equality lies in respecting every gender, not considering women as vulnerable and setting up special rules for them. Whilst we move towards the future, I'm sure we'll revive those glorious times back with the certain progress we make. Thank you.